She left my blind granddaughter in front of my house and went on a cruise, so I sold. Please stay with me as I tell my story. And please, do not forget to support our channel by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and sharing your loved ones. Your support means the world to us. Now to our story. I was standing in my bathrobe, watering my azaleas, when a car I recognized pulled up my driveway. It was my daughter-in-law, Rachel. She didn't even get out of the car properly, just popped open the back door, set something down on the porch, and then peeled off like she was dropping off an Amazon package. At first, I thought she was leaving groceries or something, until I heard a small voice say, "Grandma?" I froze. There on my porch, sitting on a pink suitcase half her size, was my granddaughter Emily. She's 6 years old, and she's blind. No warning, no phone call, no hello, nothing. She had a laminated name tag around her neck, like she was being shipped somewhere. There was also a sticky note stuck to her coat. It said, "Back in 2 weeks," with a smiley face. I just stared, trying to make sense of it. My mind went blank. I looked down the road. Rachel's car was already turning the corner. Emily reached out in my direction. "Are we at the beach now?" I bent down, trying to keep my voice steady. "No, honey. You're at Grandma's." She smiled and nodded like she was used to being confused. I brought her inside. She had no cane, no bag of supplies, no medication, not even a toothbrush. Just the suitcase, and when I opened it, 2 mismatched socks, a wrinkled swimsuit, and a single granola bar. I called Rachel, voicemail. I texted her. Finally, she replied 2 hours later with, "Relax. It's good for you to bond. She's your granddaughter. You'll survive." No explanation. No apology. And then she posted a photo on Instagram of her holding a fruity drink on a beach. The caption said, "Vibe check. Child-free for 2 weeks, smiling face with sunglasses, Victory Ann." My hands were shaking. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or both. My son, Emily's dad, is deployed overseas right now. He has no idea this happened. And knowing Rachel, she'll twist the story like she always does. I sat Emily down at the kitchen table, gave her something to eat, and tried to calm myself down. She looked up at me and said, "Is Mommy mad at me again?" That was it. That was the moment something in me snapped. I looked at her, sweet, small, completely helpless through no fault of her own, and I knew Rachel had gone too far this time. "You know what, sweetheart?" I said, brushing her hair back gently. "I think Grandma's done playing nice." The first night was rough. Emily kept asking where her mom was, over and over, like maybe the answer would change if she asked enough times. I told her she was on vacation, and Emily just nodded like she understood, but I could see in her face she didn't. She kept reaching out for things that weren't there, her cane, her stuffed hippo, the bedtime music she usually listens to. None of it had come with her. When I went through the little pink suitcase, I got angry all over again. 2 swimsuits. No pajamas. 1 broken hairbrush. No socks except the ones already on her. No extra underwear. No cane. No allergy medicine, which she needs for her peanut allergy. But hey, Rachel made sure to pack a sparkly lip gloss. Priorities, I guess. I checked the fridge for something Emily could eat and realized I had no idea what she was allergic to besides peanuts. I had to call the pediatrician just to get a basic list, since Rachel didn't bother to write anything down. That night, Emily sat on the edge of the guest bed, still in her travel clothes, holding her hands in her lap. "Quiet, too quiet. Do you want to get into your pajamas?" I asked gently. She shook her head. "Mommy says I'm not allowed to wear other people's clothes. Only mine." That nearly did me in. I brought her one of my oversized t-shirts and promised it was okay, that Mommy would be fine with it just this once. She nodded and changed, moving slow and unsure like she was afraid of being punished. When I texted Rachel again, this time listing the things Emily needed immediately, I got a one-liner back. "Your family. Just bond. Don't make it weird." She didn't even read the list. No acknowledgement. No thank you. No sorry. So I sat down at my kitchen table, took a legal pad, and started writing. A full list. Time and date. Everything missing. Everything Emily said. Everything Rachel didn't do. If she wanted to be neglectful and smug, fine, but I was going to have proof. I wasn't doing this for drama. I was doing this because something felt wrong in my gut. Like this wasn't just a vacation drop-off. Like Rachel was trying to leave her daughter, not just temporarily. And if she thought I was going to stay quiet while she sipped piña coladas with strangers, she had. Another thing coming. The next morning, I realized something that made my stomach turn. Emily didn't know where the bathroom. I assumed she'd just need a little help finding it the first time. But when I took her hand and tried to guide her, she stopped halfway down the hallway frozen. "Is there a step?" she asked. There wasn't. Just a small hallway rug. She had no confidence, no sense of how to feel her way around a space. No system, no tricks, no tactile markers, nothing. I asked her how she usually gets around at home. Mommy says not to touch the walls. It leaves smudges, she whispered. I could have screamed. I spent that entire day turning my house into a space she could learn. I put rubber bands on the bathroom doorknob, added a soft rug in front of the kitchen, and moved furniture to make clear walking paths. Then I held her hand, one room at a time, and walked her through everything, over and over. 2 steps from the bed to the dresser, 4 steps from the chair to the table. Emily started to smile. She was shy at first, but curious. She had this habit of gently brushing the tips of her fingers against everything. Textures seemed to make her light up. She asked what color my curtains were. When I told her they were red, she giggled and said, "That feels like a loud color." She was clever, sharp, and funny in a quiet way that made me want to sit and listen for hours. That's when it really hit me. Rachel had no idea who her daughter even was. That night, after Emily went to sleep, I made the mistake of looking up Rachel's social media. Her whole feed was fake sunshine. Photos of Emily in expensive outfits, staged like little ads. Captions like #blindbutbeautiful, #miraclebabysparkling, as if her daughter was some kind of PR campaign. Scrolling made me feel sick. There were hundreds of comments praising Rachel for being a strong mom and raising a special child with grace, when in reality she hadn't even taught her daughter how to find the damn toilet in her own home. I sat there in the dark, watching my granddaughter sleep peacefully in the guest room, and I knew the truth. Rachel didn't raise Emily. She managed her, just enough to make it look good. But not anymore. If Rachel wasn't going to show Emily how to live in this world, then I would. And I'd do it the way it should have been done from the start, by actually giving a damn. It was nearly 2 in the morning when I woke up to the sound of soft crying. At first, I thought it was a dream, but then I heard it again, quiet, shaky sobs coming from the guest room. I got up and found Emily sitting on the edge of the bed, hugging her knees. Her little face was wet with tears, and she was rocking back and forth. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" I asked, kneeling beside her. She didn't answer at first, just kept crying. When I put my hand on her back, she finally whispered, "I hear Mommy's voice sometimes, but she doesn't talk to me." It took me a second to figure out what she meant. Then I realized Rachel had been calling people on speaker, probably posting videos or chatting with friends nearby, and Emily was picking up her voice in the background. But she hadn't actually called her daughter. Not once. I held Emily close, trying not to let my anger show. "Mommy's busy right now," I said gently. "But I'm here. I won't go anywhere, okay?" She nodded against my shoulder, still shaking. After she fell asleep again, I sat at the kitchen table and opened my phone. Against my better judgment, I checked Rachel's Instagram. There she was, posing on a boat in Cancun, drink in one hand, sunglasses on, smiling like she didn't have a care in the world. The caption read, "Finally free of stress for 2 weeks. Self-care matters. Nail polish, tropical drink, sun, #no regrets, #solo queen." The photo had hundreds of likes. I scrolled down. There were stories of her dancing at some beach party, laughing with strangers, eating lobster. And not a single mention of Emily. Not even a missing my baby post. Just selfies, drinks, and hashtags. I texted her. "Emily is sick. Coughing fever. Did you pack any meds?" No reply. I called. Straight to voicemail. I waited an hour. Tried again. Nothing. I ended up sitting with Emily all night, wiping her forehead, giving her sips of water, holding her when she cried. By morning, I took her to urgent care. Nothing too serious, thank God, but she needed medicine and rest. Rachel didn't check in. Didn't ask. I sat in the pharmacy waiting area, watching other parents help their kids, and all I could think was, Rachel didn't just go on vacation. She left. She left like she had no plan to come back. The morning after the urgent care visit, I knew I couldn't keep pretending this was just a temporary favor. Rachel hadn't called once, not even a check-in, not even to ask if Emily was okay. So I did what she never expected. I called my lawyer. Linda's been my attorney for years, handled my will, a property dispute once, even helped me through my divorce back in the day. She's sharp, no nonsense, and when I told her everything, she didn't blink. She abandoned her child, I said. Flat out. I want to protect Emily. I want legal custody, even if it's just temporary for now. Linda pulled out a notepad and started writing. "Do you have proof?" she asked. Oh, I had proof. I showed her the texts, the Instagram posts, the lack of any packing preparation, and told her about Emily's allergies, her fear, the crying at night. The fact that Rachel hadn't called in over a week. The receipts wrote themselves. "Start documenting everything," Linda said. "Every little thing. Let's build this airtight." So I did. Every day, every incident. I even started recording audio at night when Emily asked for her mom and cried herself to sleep. I hated doing it, but I knew Rachel would lie if it came to court. A few days later, Linda called me back. "I've been digging into some financials," she said. "It's worse than you thought." Turns out, Rachel had been receiving monthly child support payments directly from my son's military allotment. The amount wasn't small. And where did that money go? Straight into spas, injections, vacation rentals, and shopping trips. There were charges to a luxury lash salon, a medical spa in Beverly Hills, 2 resort bookings under her name. One of them prepaid 6 months ago. She hadn't just ditched her kid. She'd planned this. Like it was a getaway from a chore. Do you want to go public with any of this? Linda asked. I didn't answer right away. I looked over at Emily, who was curled up on the couch in her blanket, humming to herself as she played with the edge of a cushion. No, I said quietly. Not yet. Because this wasn't about revenge. Not yet. This was about protection. About making sure that sweet little girl never had to wonder why she didn't deserve more than what her mother gave her. Rachel wanted to play selfish? Fine. But she was about to learn what happens when you treat your own child like baggage and forget that some grandmothers don't just knit sweaters, they fight. A week after Emily had settled into my house like it had always been her home, a large envelope showed up in the mail. No return address. Just Rachel's name, sent to her home address, which of course was my address now, since she never bothered updating her forwarding. I didn't plan to open it at first, but when I saw the words Adoption Resources Center printed in small type in the corner, something in my chest twisted. I stared at it for a long time before slicing it open with a kitchen knife. Inside were documents. Formal clinical cold. They were intake forms from a private adoption agency out of state. Rachel had filled them out in full. Emily's birth date. Medical history. Father listed as unavailable due to active deployment. Mother status? Unable to provide proper care due to mental strain. And there, at the bottom, in her own handwriting, child is visually impaired. Needs special placement. I am not equipped to handle her. Preferred timeline for adoption post-travel. July or August 2025. I sat down hard at the table. My knees actually buckled. She wasn't just being lazy. She wasn't just off enjoying a cruise and putting parenting on pause. She was leaving. She was planning to disappear from her daughter's life entirely. Rachel had been filling out adoption paperwork while she was posting beach selfies. She had a whole plan mapped out. Get her last vacation, dump Emily for 2 weeks, and then come back to finalize the paperwork and walk away clean. No goodbyes. No conversation with my son. No warning to me. Just drop her child off like a stray and vanish into her next Instagram-worthy life chapter. I looked over at the couch, where Emily was lying with her headphones on, listening to an audiobook. She was laughing softly at something in the story, totally unaware her own mother had tried to erase her. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Pure, ice-cold rage. And underneath that, a fire. A need to do something that would leave Rachel speechless. Not just protect Emily, but expose her. Beat her at her own game. Make her feel what abandonment actually looked like. I folded the documents carefully, placed them in a folder, and locked them in my desk. She wanted to be done with motherhood? Good. Because I was about to help her finish the job, but not the way she wanted. I didn't yell. I didn't send angry texts. I didn't call her out in the comments. I got to work. Rachel kept a ton of her things in my garage. Fancy suitcases, boxes of clothes with tags still on, designer handbags she never used but liked to post about. And sitting under a tarp in the corner? Her second car. A white BMW she barely drove, but bragged about constantly online. She left all of it behind, assuming I'd just keep her junk safe while she gallivanted across the Caribbean. But now that I had proof she was planning to ditch Emily for good, those belongings didn't look like storage to me. They looked like leverage. I called Linda, my lawyer. I explained the situation, the documents, the abandonment, everything. Can I sell her stuff legally? I asked. She didn't even hesitate. Absolutely. You've got enough documented neglect to make this defensible, especially if the money's used for Emily's care. That was all I needed. Within 3 days, I had a garage sale posted online. But not your average neighborhood sale. This was luxury resale. A consignment specialist came and helped me price everything. Gone. 3 handbags, a box of designer heels, 2 silk dresses Rachel never wore, but once posted about with the caption, "Treat yourself like royalty." Gone. Her backup MacBook, a $400 espresso machine, and every single bottle of overpriced skincare from her morning routine reel. And the car? Rachel had stupidly left the title in the glove box. Signed. So yes, that was gone too. Altogether, I made over $14,000. I opened a savings account in Emily's name. I set some aside for a mobility trainer, a therapist, and whatever school supplies she'd need. The rest? I donated to a local fund that supports blind and visually impaired kids in foster care. Because that's what Rachel had planned for her own daughter, wasn't it? She wanted a child-free life? Fine. Let her come back to nothing. And just for fun, I posted a photo on Rachel's own Instagram. I had access to it from a time she asked me to help her with her phone. I didn't post anything cruel or dramatic, Just a picture of the empty garage with a caption, clearing out the old, making space for the future. Sparkle's waving hand #fresh start. The comments blew up. People thought she was moving. Some even asked if she was finally settling down. Let them wonder, because the next time she stepped foot on this property, she'd be the one asking me for answers. She came back 3 days early. I was in the kitchen with Emily, helping her butter toast, when I heard the screech of tires in the driveway, the slam of a car door, then rapid footsteps across the porch. Rachel didn't knock. She pounded, both fists like a battering ram. I opened the door calmly. She was standing there in flip-flops and a sundress, red as a tomato, sunburned so badly she looked like she'd been roasted alive. "Where the hell is my car?" she shouted. I didn't flinch. "Sold it." "What? You can't just sell my stuff. Are you insane?" "Where's all my?" "Also sold." She looked like her brain couldn't process it. Her jaw moved, but no sound came out. "Emily," she finally screamed, trying to look past me. "Emily, baby. Come here, honey, mommy's home." Emily had walked up behind me by then, holding her stuffed hippo. She didn't say a word, didn't move, just stood there quietly, pressing into my leg. Rachel bent down and stretched her arms out. "Come on, baby. Mommy's here now." Emily didn't move, didn't even blink. That silence hit Rachel harder than anything I could have said. Then I handed her the envelope, a thick one, neatly sealed. "What's this?" she snapped, snatching it out of my hand. "Restraining order," I said, "and a court summons." She stared at the papers, flipping through them like they were in another language. "You've got to be kidding me." "I'm not. You abandoned your daughter. You left her with no meds, no clothes, no plan. And then you tried to give her away without telling anyone." She opened her mouth, but I raised my voice just slightly. "And before you say a word, just know, everything's documented. Texts, photos, your social media posts, even the adoption papers you never had the guts to tell anyone about." "You're insane," she hissed. "This is my daughter." I stepped out onto the porch, closing the door gently behind me so Emily wouldn't hear what came next. "No," I said, my voice low. "She's my granddaughter, and she's staying right here. You don't live here anymore." As if on cue, a squad car pulled up to the curb. Local officer. Good guy. I'd shown him the paperwork ahead of time. Rachel turned, wild-eyed. "You called the cops on me?" "No," I said calmly. "I called them for her. Because unlike you, I actually show up." The officer stepped out and said, "Ma'am, I need you to step off the property." Rachel stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. And for the first time, I stared right back without blinking. The courtroom smelled like old paper and worn-out fabric. Cold. Quiet. The kind of place that makes you sit straighter without realizing it. Rachel walked in like she was at a fashion show. Tight blazer, oversized sunglasses perched on her head, too much perfume. Like she thought looking put together would erase everything she'd done. Emily wasn't there, of course. I'd arranged for a child advocate to stay with her during the hearing. I didn't want her anywhere near this mess. The judge was a woman in her 60s, sharp eyes, silver hair tied back. She read through the documents silently, lips tight. Rachel sat there with her fake composure while I clenched my hands in my lap, waiting. Then the questions started. "Ms. Holloway," the judge said, looking at Rachel, "you left your child without medication, mobility tools, or proper notice for a 2-week period. You did not return at the agreed time. Can you explain?" Rachel put on her softest voice. "I left her with her grandmother, someone she knows and loves. I needed a break for my mental health. I didn't abandon her." The judge raised one brow. "And this Instagram caption, finally free of stress for 2 weeks #no regrets. What exactly did you mean by that?" Rachel froze. The courtroom stayed silent. She stammered. "It was just a joke. A silly post. Everyone exaggerates online." Linda stood and handed the judge a thick packet of printouts. Photos, comments, timestamps. Every post. Every story. Proof she never contacted Emily, never checked in, never even mentioned her daughter once. The judge looked at me next. "Do you have anything to say?" I stood, my knees trembling just a little, but my voice didn't shake. "I took care of Emily when no one else did. I fed her, helped her learn how to navigate a house for the first time, held her when she cried at night because her mother's voice was just a ghost in the background. And I've got proof Rachel was planning to hand her off for adoption without even telling my son. This wasn't a vacation. It was a getaway plan, and she didn't think anyone would stop her." Rachel rolled her eyes. The judge noticed. She leaned forward. "You don't seem to understand the seriousness of what you've done. Parenting isn't a lifestyle you turn on and off like a subscription." And just like that, she signed the order. Emergency custody? Granted. Ongoing investigation? Opened. Rachel opened her mouth again, but the judge cut her off cold. "Ma'am, this is no longer your decision to make." I walked out of that courtroom taller than I'd felt in years, because justice didn't always need shouting. Sometimes the truth is loud enough on its own. It's been 5 months. Emily is doing better than I ever imagined. She's learning Braille faster than anyone thought possible. Her mobility instructor says she's a natural, curious, careful, but brave when she needs to be. She even started taking beginner piano lessons. The sound of her fingers tapping keys, figuring out songs on her own, fills the house with something I didn't realize we were missing. She has real friends now. Kids who don't treat her like she's fragile or strange. The school staff have been incredible, and I've made sure she's got every support she needs. And every time she laughs, really laughs, it feels like a little piece of her is being rebuilt. And me? I'm different too. When Rachel dumped her on my doorstep, I thought I was being used. And I was. But what she didn't count on was what would happen when I accepted that role. When I leaned into it, Emily didn't break me, she woke me up. Rachel, on the other hand, has lost everything. The child support money stopped the moment the judge granted me full custody. Her lifestyle crumbled fast after that. No more resort vacations. No more luxury shopping sprees. And once word got around, through no help from me, her social circle dried up. No one wants to be close to the woman who tried to abandon her kid like yesterday's lawn. Now she calls. Not every day, but often enough. Always from a blocked number. Always the same whiny voicemail. Mom, this isn't fair. You stole her from me. You don't understand what I was going through. Just let me talk to her, please. Sometimes I listen all the way through. Sometimes I don't. But I never answer. Emily doesn't ask about her mom anymore. She doesn't cry at night. She doesn't wonder when she's coming back. She's moved on in her own quiet way. And so have I. Tonight, after dinner, Emily played me a song she figured out by ear. It wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful. She grinned so wide when I clapped, and then asked if we could bake cookies. I told her yes, of course. Later, after she fell asleep, I noticed a new voicemail flashing on my phone. It was from Rachel. Again, I didn't even press play. I just looked at the screen, smiled to myself, and tapped delete. She used to be someone I bent over backward for. Now, I don't even pick up the phone.